we felt there was a huge opportunity. We were relatively naive. We didn't have enough money to create a shop or a catalogue, and we thought the internet was the perfect way to sell our exciting new products. So the upside then was that there were hardly any competitors, but the massive downside was that there were hardly any customers either. So it was very tough for the first few months. It was mainly our parents and a few friends that were buying from us that kind of kept us going. But it wasn't until the shot glass chess set that we invented, which was this very bizarre fusion of chess and alcohol that we got tons of publicity for, that the business really started to take off. Also, any entrepreneur starting out needs to come up with their story, because every interview you go to, a journalist will ask, what was the initial idea? And if it's just something boring like, I want to make money, no one's going to be interested. You need that kind of human angle. So for us, this shot glass chess set is a great angle, and there's a few other interesting anecdotes about how we started. But if you look at eBay, it was about Pierre who set that company up. The story was that his girlfriend collected Pez dispensers, and there was nowhere online where he could buy them, so he set up an auction site to enable that. And a lot of the traditional Silicon Valley companies starting up in garages, living on bread and water, and I think it just adds this whole important human angle to a story and gives you more publicity. Yeah, we did a lot of crazy things when we were running Firebox. We were very naive. We got sucked into the whole dot-com boom mentality, which was all about eyeballs and visitors to websites rather than fundamentals like revenue and profits. So that was very, very important. I'd learned to be very, very careful with money raised and how it was spent, to watch our cash position incredibly carefully, to not set up offices in random cities around the world, such as Sweden, which is what we did at Firebox. And also to be very careful with staffing. Once you raise a lot of money, there's a lot of pressure to start hiring as quickly as you can, and that can be quite dangerous because every new hire you add not only adds to your cost base, but just adds to the complexity of the business. There's more people to communicate, there's more people to get upset when things go wrong, there's more equipment to buy, and so forth. And I think businesses can be a lot more efficient if they stay lean and mean. So that was something we've tried to stay on top of at Mind Candy. It was tough going from Firebox, which was an established business with revenues, and I had a nice salary from it, to starting again from scratch with Mind Candy. But I love that. That for me is the most exciting part of business. The really early days when you're setting the DNA of the business, where you're living from hand to mouth, where every day is completely different. One meeting can transform you and send you off in a new direction, where you're hiring those very first few staff and trying to convince investors to come on board. So for me, as I say, I absolutely love that stage, and it's more exciting than when a business gets to 40, 50, 60 people and it becomes much more bureaucratic and structured and predictable. Fortunately, I had some very forward-thinking investors who were willing to come on board. So Tom Teichman, who invested through New Media Spark in Firebox, believed in me and believed in the concept of Perplex City and helped me put together an angel round of about 15 people. But it was extremely difficult. That angel round was the longest and toughest financing round I've been through. It took almost a year, and took a lot of meetings and a lot of persuasion for people to see what we were doing. But as I say, some forward-thinking, innovative investors could see how the entertainment landscape was changing with the internet. Video, short-form video was going to play a greater part going forward, more interactive forms of entertainment where it's not passive, where you don't sit and watch. People could see the growth in the gaming industry, and alternate reality games looked like being a really, really huge new area where, it was almost like you, as a consumer, were playing in your own film. You were part of the action. You could influence what happened to those characters, and you could connect and form a community with other people. So some people thought we were completely crazy, and some people got the concept. We'd seen a lot of growth in the kids space online. Club Penguin's massive momentum. Webkin's doing extremely well. And we felt that was, with our limited resources at Mindcandy, our best bet was to focus exclusively on that. So we switched the company to Moshi Monsters about a year and a half ago. And once that's developed and profitable, I think we'll look back at thawing out Perplex City again, because I think it has a lot of potential. Raising finance is always a complex art, and a lot of it depends on which part of the cycle you're in. There are times when entrepreneurs are in the ascendancy, and there are times when investors are in the driving seat. And now, in early 2009, it's very much the investors back in command. When we raised money for Firebox back in 1999, it was boom time, and investors were falling over themselves to invest in anything .com related. We were two guys, relatively fresh out of university, not a clue what we were doing. We cobbled together a business plan, and we had 4 or 5 offers. So that was quite eye-opening for us, and we thought raising money was always as easy as that, but obviously it's not. Mindcandy was tricky, again, because we were doing something very unusual, and we were raising money at quite a tough time in 2004 when the internet wasn't in vogue. But reputation is extremely important. So if you've built up a successful business and you have connections with investors that trust you, that goes an awful long way. It may be a strange time to launch a subscription service at Moshi Monsters, but gaming is traditionally one of the areas that prospers in a recession. £3 or £4 a month is not a huge expense for a parent to pay for their children being in a safe and fun environment with educational content as well. So we think it's great value, and we think we will not suffer adversely during the turbulent times that lie ahead. In Silicon Valley, they have a wonderful ecosystem for anyone setting up a business. You have the best lawyers and accountants and critical mass of venture capitalists. But one thing they have that we don't really have yet in London is the ecosystem of angel investors, entrepreneurs who have been through the mill and have exited 2 or 3 or 4 times with a lot of cash to invest in early stage businesses. And we haven't quite seen that in London yet. We've got a few, Saul Klein and Robin, Brent Hoberman, and a handful of others. But I think it's important, and Europe is developing that more now. I think it will help the early stage entrepreneurial climate. But I don't know whether it's a responsibility. I think it's something that if the entrepreneurs who have made some money get pleasure from it and enjoy investing in other entrepreneurial businesses, then great. If they'd rather just spend their money on yachts and boats and helicopters, then good luck to them as well. Mindcandy has raised quite a bit of venture capital, and so we obviously have to have at least half an eye on the exit. And I think in the current climate, an IPO is pretty much out of the question, at least for the next few years. I think the most likely exit for Mindcandy will be a trade sale to a major media company or an entertainment business or a toy company. There are a lot of potential acquirers out there because the space is so hot and there are major revenue potentials. But we don't want to get too distracted by that. Currently, we've got a lot to do to build the product and generate our revenues and become profitable. So that's the first focus, and then in the next few years, we'll look at potentially exiting. Some entrepreneurs build businesses purely with the exit in mind, and I could never do that. I think first and foremost, you have to build a business that you love and you're passionate about, and focus on that. And then I believe the exit will come if you can build something successful. I think it's quite hard to try and artificially engineer a business that you believe will slot into another company. I think it's riskier, given the ups and downs we've seen in the M&A market, I personally wouldn't feel comfortable with that approach. But then again, as a smart entrepreneur, you do need, as I say, to have at least half an eye on it and be thinking who could be potential acquirers for this business and what would they potentially see as value, and head a little bit in that direction.